All right, let's jump right into week 13, or better known as Thanksgiving week. And we got some good Thanksgiving Day bets coming up for you, as well as a few coming up on Sunday as well. So let's jump right in. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Betting on Thanksgiving in America goes off the charts. More people bet on Thanksgiving than most any other week other than the Super Bowl. And I don't know if that's because of the family rivalry, whether you're competing against family or you're trying to get away from family, and so you just focus on the game. I don't know. Hopefully it's the competitive option for you. But either way, I want to give you the best chance possible for getting some successful bets in this week. There's 3 games coming up on Thursday. First up, you got the Bears and the Lions. And I think the sports books are going to make money on this one because there's not a really clear way to see it going. Matthew Stafford is still not starting this week. And Mitch Trubisky is still up and down and not really giving us something that we can even establish as a baseline to make predictions off of. So if you see a play, go for it, but I think it's pretty hit or miss on this one. My best bets for Thanksgiving start on the mid-afternoon game, Bills against the Cowboys. Cowboys are better than what most people give them credit for. Matched up against the Bills, they outrank them in most areas of the field. Defense, scoring, passing. The Cowboys have had their ups and downs, don't get me wrong. But even in their losses, they've been able to keep up with those teams and give you more predictable results. And that's why we got to go with the Cowboys to cover the spread. The spread's at 7 points right now, and I just don't see this being a one-score game. The Bills, having had an easy schedule so far, they tend to not do so well against the better teams. Despite their ups and downs, that's what the Cowboys are. They're the better team. And so we got this by going more than a one-score game. I'd say the Cowboys win by at least 10 points, so they can safely cover that spread there. Kind of a similar situation in the Saints at the Falcons game. 2 weeks ago, Falcons got the upset win against the Saints. Thankfully, we didn't have that bet covered here on Know the Odds, but a lot of people lost big when it came to that one. Vegas isn't predicting a repeat of that game. Saints are still listed as the favorite. But again, it's a 7-point game. We did well this last week with the Bucs beating the Falcons. The Falcons had 2 games in a row, and a lot of people got excited about it. The Falcons are... Something's happened to the Falcons, and they're all of a sudden a good team. 2 games, like we talked about, doesn't make a trend, though. The trend that they've been setting all year long has been a bad one. They've not been putting up good results. You should expect that trend to continue. It did. We did good with them last week, and I've got no reason to expect why we're not going to do good again with them this week. It's not going to be a one-score game. Saints are my favorite to go to the Super Bowl, folks. Falcons aren't getting in the way of that, and it's not going to be a close one. So covering that game by more than 7 points as well. And that's going to be your 2 best bets for Thanksgiving. So best of luck, and save me some stuffing. Let's move on to Sunday's bets. Really interesting game coming up. Titans are playing the Colts. And it's in Indianapolis, which is one of the only reasons I can see home field advantage that the Colts are listed as the favorites in this game. I have not seen 2 teams this evenly matched all year long. These teams have the exact same record. They both have their backup quarterbacks in. Both quarterbacks having similar experience when it comes to starting in the NFL. When it comes to total points scored for the year, there's a 1-point difference between these teams, and it's actually in favor of the Titans. These teams have the exact same record at home games and away games. To predict that any one team is going to win sounds a little bit arrogant to me, which is why I would have probably taken either team, whichever one was given the points. On this one, in this case, you get 2 extra points if you pick the Titans. So we're going to go with the Titans plus 2 points. Because why not? I'd have picked the Colts if they were given 2 points advantage as well. It gives you more than a 50% chance of making money in this game, which puts it solidly in one of the best bets in my book. We got another interesting game, Browns against the Steelers. Now, 2 weeks ago, again, I don't know that you could easily forget it. Towards the end of the game, Browns and Steelers, there was a major fight between Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph. And people are looking for the rematch, and the line makes sense if you take that into account. We'll talk about that. Neither of those guys are playing in this game. One is suspended and one's benched. Steelers now have their third-string quarterback. We can call him a second-string quarterback. They're going through him like crazy over there. Browns got a solid win 2 weeks ago against the Steelers, and they've been on fire ever since then. They need to do well if they want to go to the playoffs, and they've got the easy schedule to make it this year, so long as they do well, and that starts with winning this game. The only difference is now the Steelers have their backup to their backup, whatever you want to call them. It only makes sense that the Browns should be favored even more than they were last time. That's what I have them winning by, 8 points at least, but that's not what Vegas says. 2 points is the spread in this game. Browns are favored to win by 2 points. Here's what I'm thinking on this. The fight between Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph has been in headlines every day since it happened up until today. That gets a lot of excitement generated, and that's good for us because we can play off that emotion. America wants to see a rematch. And because the Steelers lost last time, they expect that they're going to win this time around. Or at least they want them to win for some reason. But if you look at the numbers and the stats, that's not what they're telling you. The non-emotional bet that we like to make is telling us that the Browns are going to win this one. And it's going to be by a lot more than 2 points. So we got the Browns covering the spread here. Up next, we're talking Chargers against the Broncos. Now, I have a rule about betting for my team. I think that's an emotional bet. And some of you may know, like, the Broncos are my team. I pretty exclusively root for them. But I'm only half breaking the rule this time because I'm betting against the Broncos. The Chargers are going to cover the spread here. The last time we saw the Chargers, they went and earned themselves a pretty good beating against the Chiefs. Games like that have a huge effect in the lines that come out the next time that team shows up. And it's a great opportunity for us to make plays on it when it happens. When a good team loses to a good team, it doesn't make them a bad team. It just makes them a good team with one more loss on their record. And that's the case that we find the Chargers in right now. They're still a good team. They got everything that they need to get the win here. But because of that big beating that they got against the Chiefs, everybody's all excited about it. It's going to be a closer game than it would. They got a little bit more money coming towards the Broncos than they really deserve. And again, this is a 2-point spread. The Chargers should not be beating the Broncos by only 2 points. It's going to be more than that. And that makes them our third best spread bet of Sunday. And here's my favorite portion. You guys know I like moneyline bets. We got one moneyline bet for you here. We had Cincinnati featured as one of our best bets a few weeks ago, and they did well for us against the Raiders, covering the spread. We're going to make a little bit bolder prediction this time, though. I'm saying Cincinnati gets their first win of the year against the Jets. And like I said, when one team performs better than they should, it greatly affects the next line that comes out in their next game. The Jets had a great game this last week against the Raiders. Good for them. That doesn't mean that they're the great team that they were last week, though. If we've learned anything from this season, it's that it's very difficult to go through the entire season without a loss, and it's difficult to go through the season without a win. And this is Cincinnati's best chance to do it. Andy Dalton is back in the starting position after he had his little bit of time in timeout there. He's going to be looking to prove that he should still have a job next year. He's well rested, should be ready to pull out all the moves and get his team back to the standing that they used to have. The odds are okay in this moneyline bet. We got plus 165 odds, which is solid enough for me to make it a moneyline bet rather than the spread. The spread is 4 points if you want to take that option, but I'm going with the money line bet in this scenario. So in review, Thanksgiving, we got the Cowboys and the Saints to cover the spread in their games. Coming up then on Sunday, we've got the Titans, Browns, and Chargers all to cover the spread in their games. And lastly, Cincinnati Bengals to get the money line win against the Jets. Let's talk daily fantasy sports for a little bit, shall we? There's a guy who doesn't usually have the best fantasy seasons. I don't know why. He does great in all other aspects of the game. You've heard of him. His name's Tom Brady. This year he's having a really great fantasy season. The Patriots are coming off of a couple low-scoring games. They got beat up, but they're heading to Texas, and it should be a high-scoring game. I expect Brady to get back into the groove and be matching Deshaun Watson, keeping up with the young guy, point for point, probably even outdoing him. But he's for a good price this week. He's going to be our quarterback deal of the week. Let's talk wide receiver position. We've been missing him for a while. Adam Thielen is back in this week, and he's at a good price because we don't have that many stats for him this year so far. He's missed a good number of weeks. So he's in at $7,000 in FanDuel, and it makes a great deal of the week for the wide receiver position. If you want to know all the other positions that we have listed, make sure you go check out knowtheodds.net. Also, if you like what you're hearing here, make sure you subscribe and support us. I've been loving bringing this stuff to you every week, and would love to continue to do so. I'm wishing you the best of luck this week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next time.